Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Monday, Mafia Monday. Let's jump into our story. We're going to pick up right where we left off. We're going scene by scene through all three novels that I wrote about the Los Angeles Syndicate. We're starting with the first one, California Gangsters, following our main character, Simon Castro. As he has risen through the streets, he started his own crew. He got to take his grandfather's turf. His grandfather was a famous gangster who retired. He took his downtown turf, took over the DTGs, the Downtown Gangsters, a famous mob, one of the first mobs in Los Angeles. And he was just recognized for his success and asked to join the syndicate. In the last episode, he was invited in and he has to pay $1.5 million. So let's pick up right where we left off. Simon is still up in the building. He's still in the big black building down on Broadway. That's the Syndicate building. You might have driven by it 100 times. You didn't even know what it was. I got Mr. Snubby. He's ready. Ready for some Mafia stories. Ready for anything. You should be too. Let's jump into it. Let me go up to where we left off. All right, here we go. When it was time to leave, my father pulled me aside over to the window and gave me a hug. He said in my ear, "We did it, kid." I pushed him away after the hug felt like it was lasting a little too long. I'm not one for physical contact, even if it is my own father. I replied, "So, Pop, you do realize that our relationship has now changed. As far as I'm concerned, DTG is 100% on its own. We're equal with the family now." He gave me a puzzled look and said, "Oh, really? What would possibly make you think that? You do remember our plan, don't you? You remember how you got that chair, don't you?" I gave my father a grin and replied, "You'll see me next week, and you'll see how things are from now on. Take a long look at the chair that you chose for me to sit in. That's my grandfather's chair. Go look at it. I'll see you tonight. I'll give you my payment when I come over." I was driven home by an old black man named Rodney. He was assigned to me by the syndicate, as all the syndicate board members had drivers. He was waiting for me down in the parking garage by a long black limo. He was a tall, skinny fellow who had a scratchy voice from a lifetime of cigar smoking. Rodney had a warm look in his eyes, which gave me comfort when I met him. I can tell a normal person just from looking in their eyes. I really like normal people. In this life, we don't seem to get too many of them. Or maybe it's this damn city that we live in. Normal people are like unicorns in Los Angeles. It's a town full of creeps, phonies, and weirdos. Rodney said, "Greetings, Mr. Castro. I was told that you would need a solid driver. I drove your grandfather. Now I'm going to drive you. I was a DTG when I was a kid, back in the 40s. I hung out over on Hill Street in the park, just a block over." I smiled and replied, "I remember meeting you when I was a little boy. You came over to my father's house for Thanksgiving one time, I think." Rodney said, "Yes, sir, I sure did. That was after my mother died. And your grandfather invited me to come with him to your father's house over for dinner. I'm glad that you remember me. Get in. I'll take you wherever you need to go." The old black man held the limousine door open for me, then scurried around the front to the driver's side. He opened the dividing window so that we could talk. Rodney looked at me through the rear-view mirror with his amazing silver eyes and said, "Mr. Castro, what sort of vehicle would you prefer to be driven around in? The syndicate has access to anything that you might want. This is what I have for us today. I hope it's to your liking." I replied, "Oh, well, that's nice. I've always liked Cadillacs since my uncle owns Cadillac dealership, but I guess I'll have to think about it. Thanks for asking. Hey, I forgot your name. You can call me Simon. My grandfather is Mr. Castro. I don't even respond when people call me that." Rodney laughed and said, "I know who you are. I'll call you Simon if you like that better. I'm Rodney, and some call me Doc, but I don't know why. I ain't no fucking doctor, and I don't even go to one." We slowly pulled out of the parking garage onto Broadway. I replied. I never like nicknames anyways. They call me Monster in the streets and I hate it. I'll call you by your name if you call me by mine. Rodney said, "You got yourself a deal, kid. I can tell that you're not like the other board members." I replied, "Really? How am I any different?" Rodney said, "You got fire in your eyes like a hungry lion. The others don't have it, but you do. You got an aura about you." I replied, "Rodney, my man, I like you. I'm an excellent judge of character, and I feel like you're a trustworthy person. Take me to my apartment over in Beverly Hills." We drove across town back to my apartment to get the cash payment for my membership. Rodney told me the entire story of how my grandfather started the syndicate with his neighborhood friends. As we bumped over the potholes on Wilshire Boulevard, I stared out of the window, looking at the tall buildings going by, thinking about my next move in this game. I wondered if this nice old driver was planted by my father to get information on me and my crew. One thing Frank taught me is that you can't trust anyone, especially in the syndicate. When we got to my apartment, it smelled funny and musky. It was more of a storage unit than a living space since I was at Jennifer's place full time. I grabbed a stack of cash that I had remembered counting a week earlier. It was marked with a number 2 for $2 million. I took $500,000 from the top and put the rest into a large gym bag. I called my mother and told her that I wouldn't be making it to dinner because I had some important business to take care of that I couldn't get out of. I gave my love to my sisters and hung up. I gave the bag of money to Rodney as a test. I sent him up to my father's house to hand him the payment and then to come right back to me as soon as he was done. $1.5 million is enough to hit the border and to be never seen again. It was chump change to me, but I wanted to see if good old Rodney was on my team or if he was flying solo. Rodney was happy to have some involvement in some excitement besides driving, and he came back to the apartment in Beverly Hills as fast as he could. When he returned, I was waiting out front on the sidewalk for him. He pulled up and jumped out to let me in. Rodney said, "Well, that's it. You're official now, kid. Welcome to the company. Your pop was bummed out that you didn't show. He asked why you didn't come, and I told him I didn't know. But I think I got you figured out. You're a bad motherfucker, Simon. That's all I can say. A bad motherfucker indeed." I had Rodney take me to Jennifer's place and told him to take the night off. I called a meeting with Tom to talk about the future of the DTGs. Tom came over to the apartment at around noon the next day. He arrived shortly after Jennifer had left for her daily trip to the health spa. She was going to the new one over on Sepulveda Boulevard. He had with him a suitcase full of cash from our weekly profits. He had never been to Jennifer's place before and was very impressed with the view, as well as my little corner of football trophies that I had set up. We sat in the living room, drinking beers and looking at the garage. Excuse me. I'm thinking about something else right now. I got a motorcycle I'm working on. We sat in the living room, drinking beers and looking at the orange smog resting over the skyline of West LA. I took the bag of money that he brought and put it in my closet in the bedroom. We sat in leather reclining chairs and talked about business. I said, "Tom, I want to get right down to it. Brace yourself for this, but I just joined the company yesterday. I paid my fee and it's official, 100%. The DTGs have regained their seat on the board of directors, and they gave me my grandfather's chair. I literally sit at the head of the table." Tom stood up as fast as he had sat down, looking wildly excited. He almost did a spit take with a mouthful of beer. He replied, "The Syndicate? What the fuck are you talking about? Don't yank my chain, Simon. It's way too early for this fucking crap." I laughed and said, "Oh, there's more. Sit down. Officially speaking, under strict rules of membership. The DTGs can't take orders from my father, the family, or the commission back east. Tom, I hope you understand what that means. We are officially on our own. From now on, all the orders are coming from me, chairman of the board of the syndicate, not my father, not the family, and no one that you know back east. Tom processed that information for a minute and was shocked. He sat on the chair opposite me, staring at the floor. He replied, Simon, I don't really know what to say. DTG was started as a new crew in the family, and now you say that it's our own mob? We're not even part of Cosa Nostra? I mean, just like that? I smiled and said, it's the syndicate rules, Tom. The DTG is its own thing. Now listen up. Do you want to be the acting boss, or do you want to just go back and join the family or go back east? It's up to you. Tom swiftly replied, no, I want to be with you. I'm ready for this. But why do you call it an acting boss and not an underboss? I said, because, Tom, I'm going to be up on Mount Olympus, calling shots from the shadows, while you run the operation from the streets. Get yourself an underboss, and then get the crew in shape for what's coming. Oh, that reminds me. Find me a kid from our crew to be my personal assistant. Have him show up here tomorrow with a suit on, no tracksuits. Tom smiled wide and replied, well, this is history in the making. It's a little confusing, but I love it. I can feel it in my feet. They're tingling. I think I'll go buy myself a business suit, to change my image a little. I need to look the part if I'm going to be a boss. I stood up and walked over to the windows, looking at Tom's reflection in the glass as he sat on the chair behind me. I said, Tom, here's $1 million question. Will you be able to pull the trigger on a family member if I ask you to? Will you be able to kill a member of the Italian Mafia without question? Will you be able to order our soldiers to run missions on men who you once broke bread with? Tom replied, Simon, you never have to question my loyalty. I'm 100% down for you. I only wish that Mika was here to be my underboss. I laughed and said, Tom, Mika wouldn't have been your underboss. You would have been his. Tom smiled humbly and said, I hear you. I just wish he was alive. It still hurts. I pulled out a joint from a cigar box on the coffee table and lit it up. I opened the sliding doors to the balcony for some air and pulled the ashtray near me. I took several puffs, and Tom said, hey, give me a hit off that thing. I don't usually smoke that stuff, but this is a special occasion. Tom was not a pothead at all and awkwardly grabbed the joint, holding it up in the air like he had just pulled Excalibur from the stone. We sat together joking around like teenagers, both enjoying some silliness for an hour or two before we had to get back to the serious game we were playing. Tom's first order of business as acting boss was to call a big meeting of the entire DTG crew to set the new rules in place. We were no longer paying up to the family. We were no longer under my father or any mafia member. Now we were running the company. The game just changed. Thanks for watching.